Hello and welcome to the Flagstaff County Podcast. I'm your host, Cary Castagna, Communications Coordinator for Flagstaff County. This is our first episode of 2025, and what better way to kick off a new season, Season 5, than with Flagstaff County Reeve, Kroetch. Welcome, Don, and thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's kind of special to be the first one of 2025, but I'm honored and I'll try to do my best.
You're listening to the official podcast of Flagstaff County. All right. Well, Don, I have to ask you right off the bat, are you mad at me?
I get mad at you at times, but at this moment, I'm pretty cool with you.
Oh, yeah? Even after I used those images of you in a series of AI-generated social media posts without your permission?
Some of those kind of freak me out, but my wife, Diana, really liked the last one with the squishing. With the big...
Oh, yeah, that was... you were being crushed by a human-sized hydraulic press.
Yeah, I don't know why she got so much joy out of that, but...
There was the other ones I was just going to mention for people that might not know. We also inflated you with helium.
Yep.
And we also had your eyes popping out of your head.
That is true. Neither of them were very flattering, but...
No, but I mean, you're always a good sport. But
oh, yeah.
But no, you're not mad at me for using those. And
absolutely not. It's the idea to get some excitement into the election, and with our public engagement, any tools we have available we'll use.
Yeah. Well, thanks for not being mad at me, and I do still want to apologize for exploiting you for social media views, and that's really why I was doing it, was just to attract as much attention as possible to what we're going to be talking about a little bit later, and that's this year's public engagement initiatives. But before we get to that, I'd like to talk about the upcoming election. It's happening on October 20th of this year. Can you give our listeners some insight into what it's like to run for councilor and serve on Flagstaff County Council?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think anybody that runs for a public role, if it's elected official or a manager of a hockey team or library board president, they want to serve their community, make their community better, and ensure that they continue with those services. I know some of the toughest jobs in the region is being a hockey board president. There's a lot of politics in that. Yeah. And those people serve and they put their name forward to serve their community and ensure those services that they enjoy continue and enhance those. So I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people get into this. And for me, for Flagstaff County, I was really always interested in serving the community in that role, in a kind of a political role, and setting the direction and maybe getting down into some more complicated issues like healthcare or transportation and stuff like that, because I really enjoy that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, what made you decide to run in the first place? I mean, obviously you had some experience running in Strome, but can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's right. You brought up my first experiences was running for Strome, and in Strome we had such a small community. It was kind of you're expected to run because very few people, and the people in the community saw me as a possible candidate, and I enjoyed it, and I ran for council, and I had a lot of support with the municipality there, the administration, and the town, and I really enjoyed it. And so when this opportunity came up to run for county council, I kind of said, yeah, there's another opportunity that I think I'd hopefully be good at. I'd like to throw my hat in the ring and see what I can do in that position. And luckily, I was elected, and so this is my second term.
Yeah, no, just to go back to Strome, you were the mayor of Strome, right?
That is correct, yeah. I was there for 3 terms. The first term, I was just a councilor. Yeah. And my neighbor was a town man, and the neighbor 2 down from that was the mayor. Oh. And so I kind of got into that. We all got together on the deck every Friday afternoon. We talk about stuff, and that's how it got interested. And then the second term was mayor, and third term was mayor.
Oh, okay, and then the dissolution came, and then you ran for the county council. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. I didn't run right away. I think there.
Oh, you didn't?
No, it was about 2 or 3 years after this. Well, it might have been the next election cycle, though, mind you.
Oh no, yeah, because it would have been 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the dissolutions happened in beginning of 2016.
Yeah, something like that. They were
Yeah.
close for sure, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, do you have any advice for Flagstaff County residents who may be considering running for election to county council?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest part of it is know your role as an elected official. Understanding that as an elected official, you have a lot of responsibility. You have the ability to set the course for the organization for the rest of your term. And you do that by using your strategic plan. So one of the first things you do once you get elected as a council, you get together with some of the staff and you set the plan ahead for the next 4 years. And that's called our strategic plan. And it is used for a guide map for council and staff to help support you in council's direction. You're the only person in the whole entire organization that has the ability to change, introduce, or eliminate policy and procedure for the organization. That kind of sets the direction and kind of the, how would you call it? That's your laneway. Mm-hmm. And saying that, so elected official, anyway, their primary role is governance, not operations. And lots of times people, when they get elected, they feel, I got to be everything to everyone because they elect me to do that. But that's not your role, not by any way, shape, or form. It couldn't be further from the truth. As long as you stay in your laneway, trust the people you work with. A good example is, I don't know if I should give an example.
Well, I was going to say, plus you can't make everyone happy, right?
Well,
and that's not your job, is to make everyone happy. You got to do the best for your municipality.
Absolutely. As an elected official from my area, my duty is to bring forward the priorities of the people that live in my area.
Yeah.
And there's 5 of us, or will be 5 of us, or going to be 5 councillors next term. They're all doing that. And sometimes their priorities are different than they should be, because the priorities of people live in my division are different, going to be the priorities of the people live in Hardisty. And all those priorities come together. And as a council as a whole, you find the best path forward. You ask for information about the topic, you discuss, you debate, and council as a whole move forward with that direction. And I can be the first one to tell you, a lot of the things I brought forward didn't get past the council.
Yeah.
Because we do what's best for the entire region. And you go in there with, you go in humble, I guess, because a lot of things you think is a priority may not be a priority for the others.
Yeah. And
that's the best path forward, when 5 differing opinions discuss a topic or a direction. You have all the information in front of you, and you make a solid choice.
Yeah, I can imagine it's not an easy job, but it's probably a very rewarding job.
Oh, absolutely. Looking back on some of the things we've accomplished in the last 8 years, I think one of the things that really comes to mind is regional collaboration. We got the regional fire across the line, something we've been dealing with for many years at the county, and we got that, and it's one of our success stories.
Yeah.
And another one is through COVID, we had a closure of some of our healthcare facilities due to lack of people. And out of that COVID era, we started a Flagstaff Healthcare Attraction Committee. And that's the entire region working together to find ways to bring people into our region, to attract them and retain them. Yeah. And we've had a lot of success with that, a lot of programs going through. And next month, we're inviting 30 students from the Calgary and Red Deer region to tour our facilities, highlight many of our recreational facilities, and just tell them about what it's like to work and live in rural Alberta, and especially Flagstaff.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Now, as you said, you're completing your 2nd term on Flagstaff County Council, and it's your 2nd term as Reeve. Looking back at the last several years, Don, how has the whole experience been, though? I mean, I know you mentioned some success stories, but how has the experience been in general for you?
It's been challenging at times, but in the end, it's more rewarding than you can imagine. Knowing, I think once you got past the idea as an elected official, you can't be everything to everyone, and you're doing your best you possibly can in the circumstances. Like a lot of the outside pressures that a councillor has is provincial legislation. A lot of things we'd want to do, we can't do because it's not in our lane. Another one would be fiscal responsibility. We don't have the capacity to afford some of these long-term programs. And with that, and understanding that everybody in the organization of Flagstaff County, the Team Flagstaff approach is there to support you. Your role as elected official and your priorities and your goals are set along in the strategic plan that the council does at the beginning of the term. Yeah. And the entire organization works towards supporting council's directions and goals. And then putting the trust in the people that you work with is amazing, because there's amazing people that work here, and they're here to help you succeed. Yeah. And with that attitude and with that optimism, I guess, it's a really rewarding job. It really is. Some days, the morning could be the worst day of your life, but by afternoon is the most rewarding day of your life. Yeah. You don't take anything home too. So you just do the best you can, explain the decisions you make, and go with that. And I would recommend it to anyone. Yeah. And there is good people in the community that could do this role better than I can do it, and could fill this role easily. And I'd encourage them to look into it, because it is very rewarding.
Yeah, they just need to step forward. We do have all the information you need. It's on our website at flagstaff.ca. We have an election 2025 page. So just go there and maybe end up putting your name in. So, Don, I just wanted to also ask you if you had any other advice for Flagstaff County residents who they may be, on the fence, or they may be considering running for election to county council, but not quite sure. What would you tell them?
I would tell them, come in, talk to staff. Yeah, we have great staff here. Talk to your local councillor. Some of their experiences would be very rewarding. And there's lots of resources out there. The RMA has a resource page for newly elected officials. We have lots of stuff here. Yeah. Come sit in a council meeting.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Just pay attention to what stuff's going on, and phone your councillor, because they'll have a viewpoint that you can't get anywhere else, because they're in the chair. And we're here to support the next generation of elected officials, and that's one of our roles too.
All right, Don, I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but are you going to be running again in October?
Oh, well, I am not. These last 2 terms have been very rewarding. And we're going down a new path. It's not that I don't enjoy it. It's not that I regret doing it. I enjoy it fully. But it's time to turn the page and try something different. This door doesn't really close. It just opens another one. And with that, yeah.
That's sad for me to hear, because I really enjoy working with you. I mean, you're a really likable guy, personable guy, and I know you always have the best intentions of the Flagstaff region in mind. So, yeah, we're definitely going to miss you, but we still have a few more months to go. So
yeah, we'll make the best of it. Yeah. And it's not like I'm going to not miss coming or working with Flagstaff County and being part of the team here. I will miss it for sure, but it's time.
Yeah, you feel like you've put your time in, and
yep.
2 solid terms, 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years, long time. And when I look around the community, there is good people out there that could do a fantastic job in this seat. And it'd be selfish not to give those guys an opportunity too.
Yeah. It goes fast, though, 8 years. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
It doesn't feel like it.
Look back at some of the pictures from the first time we got elected. Some of us put on a little weight, and some of us with a lot more gray hair. Yeah. But, it went by fast because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's shift gears now to another important issue, and that's public engagement. The way I see it, public engagement is really the cornerstone of a thriving and well-connected municipality. When people share feedback, it fosters transparency, trust, and better decision-making. And I've done some research, and I've just put together 4 bullet points that I've compiled. Number 1, public engagement gives you better decisions. So policies and programs reflect the true needs of the community when everyone's voice is heard. Number 2, public engagement gives you accountability and transparency. Public involvement helps hold leaders accountable and promotes open communication about priorities and challenges. Number 3, public engagement gives you stronger community bonds. So engagement builds relationships and encourages people to take pride in shaping the place in which they live. And finally, the fourth point is that public engagement gives you innovative solutions. So diverse perspectives, as you mentioned, Don, lead to creative and effective approaches to solving community problems. Now, public engagement gives residents a powerful voice in general, and by participating and sharing their ideas, residents can help drive the future of this community, like you said. And public engagement isn't just an opportunity. I really think it's a responsibility we all share. So in short, I don't think we can stress it enough that input from our residents is extremely valued, and it will be considered in the development of the 2026 business plan. Now, Don, I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are on public engagement.
Right. As a role as a councillor, your number one objective is to bring forward the priorities of the people you're elected to serve. And through public engagement, that's how you get some of those ideas moving forward. The old adage is, I don't know what I don't know until someone tells me. And if I don't give everybody an opportunity to bring those ideas forward or bring those priorities forward, how can we govern those citizens effectively and be part of a good governance structure? So public engagement is key, no matter what form it takes. Meeting the guy at the post office is public engagement, but having the informal processes like we have here with coffee, like your counselor, and the survey brings different avenues to bring all that information together. And it's imperative that everyone, takes the time to give us some feedback. The good and the bad is warranted, is needed to make good decisions. And all that information will be brought forward to council in our next elections, our budget cycle. So it's important to have it.
Yeah, and I mean, it worked with the electoral boundary review. I mean, look how we went from the current 7 councillors, and we're going to be going down to 5 councillors and 5 divisions as of the election in October. Can you talk a little bit about how that worked for that situation?
Yeah, absolutely. This was a initiative that's been brought to council a couple times, or council's debated a few times, and with bringing all the information forward, we thought it would be a good idea to maybe give it back to the public. How do you want to be served by your councillors? And there was 3 options, and you're a big part of getting that information out there and make sure people made informed decisions and what's the good and bad about changing divisions or adding or subtracting divisions. And with that feedback, it really affirmed what direction we should take. We move forward with the 5 divisions with the confidence that our electorate are in favor of that and moving forward with that, because it was an informed decision with all the information we could. And so that gives us confidence, and so it made it a non-issue. Yeah. This is what the people want, so we move forward with that.
I mean, there were some different perspectives on that issue, but the survey for sure weighed heavily in favor of 5 divisions. And yeah, you have to listen to the people and listen to what they want, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was so, I wouldn't say, it was pretty decisive.
Yeah.
The numbers, when you looked at the 3 options, and the 5 divisions was way ahead of the others, I think even more than the 2 of them combined. And so that put confidence that we were on the right path as council and Flagstaff. And it's going to be interesting how it goes. I think it'll go really, really well. I think we'll have a good, strong council working together for the betterment of the entire region.
Yeah. All right. Now we're talking about public engagement, and we happen to be doing some public engagement initiatives right now as we speak. And Don, I guess, can you talk a little bit about how what Flagstaff County is doing to engage the public this year, starting with the survey?
Yeah. The survey is a broad-based information gathering tool because it's available on many different platforms. And so once we gather all that information, we summarize it, and it's presented to council. And council gets a summary of the priorities of the entire region. So it's a good overview of the entire Flagstaff region from many different variety sources. It gives you an opportunity, if you don't want to drive in for the other events or don't have an opportunity to meet your counselor or phone your counselor, it's a good way to bring your priorities forward and your concerns forward to council.
It just takes a few moments to fill out the 25 questions. And basically, we're asking residents about their satisfaction levels with our current lineup of programs and services. It's a great way to gather actionable feedback. And yes, the results, it's going to be a tighter timeline this year just because of the election coming up. But the results are going to be presented as of February 12th at the next council meeting. So, Don, after that, we have also the online brainstorm board. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's another opportunity for residents throughout the region to bring new and creative ideas to council for consideration. As a council of 5 or 7, whatever that number is, you're not all knowing. I always speak about all the good community-minded members throughout the community. They'll have an idea that we would never prioritize. They have an opportunity to bring it to their brain board. We dissect it a little bit, see if it can work, and we've moved forward on some of those in the past, and we really appreciate that input. Just another way to get some ideas, some new initiatives, maybe some gaps in programming come forward and with some suggestions, and because there is, good people out there with good ideas, and we just got to get them in front of council.
Yeah, so that's the online brainstorm board. Residents can submit their ideas for new programs or services, and it's essentially an open platform for creativity and innovation. And that's up actually year-round, but we only promote it kind of this time of year just to make it part of our public engagement initiatives. But you can find that at flagstaff.ca. And then, I should mention, speaking of the brainstorm board, I just wanted to share with you, Don, some feedback we received just yesterday through the online board from someone who simply identifies themselves as a farmer. And the feedback goes like this. I entrust our council to do everything possible to maintain our taxes at the current level. With all the development in the county, which increases our tax base, do everything you can to budget to maintain tax rates rather than increase. Now, that's some good feedback, Don, and maintaining taxes at the current level is something that council has managed to do for the last several years, right, Don?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the priorities for this council and last council is not to pass that financial burden on to the taxpayer, because we've had some tough years there through different challenges. I think we all know what they are.
Yeah.
And I think the question really leans to fiscal responsibility, long-term fiscal responsibility of this council, how it impacts councils 25 years from now or 50 years from now. I think what we introduced at the start of the first term is a couple tools that really help council and staff navigate some challenges. One is the asset management strategy. And so that is a strategy where staff identifies all the assets within the county, understand what their depreciation, what lifespan, and when they need to be replaced. Mm-hmm. We're getting so far into asset strategy, and it's ongoing. It'll never stop because we're always adding assets and replacing assets. And we're getting down, so we're grading roads at a mile a piece. How long will that stretch of road will last? When did it have to be replaced, and what's that cost of replacement? Mm-hmm. So that gives council and staff the idea that in 25 years, we'll need this amount of money to continue with the programs and services we have. So that's one tool in the toolbox, and we're always adding to that. It's always getting more complex, and it's a really good tool. And the second one is our long-term fiscal strategy, which identifies the costs we need in not only next year, not only 5 years, but 25 years down the road and 50 years down the road. And what effect does the decisions we make today affect 25 years down the road? Yeah. So a change in the mill rate, if we wanted to increase the mill rate, how does that affect 5 councils down the road or the next generation? And so we're really aware of that. And with those two tools together, I'm confidently say that we're in pretty solid ground. We will not go down a path where we're going to pass the costs on to the next generation. Yeah. We're really aware of our long-term commitment. And to say this council is very aware, and that we're quite confident with the tools and the staff and everybody we have in place that we will not be downloading costs to further generations. So it's a really long-term plan. When we budget, we don't budget for 5 years. We budget for 15, 20, 25
And that's
years
the key,
down the road.
right? Planning for the future, because that way you don't have any surprises and you don't have to raise taxes, a huge amount 1 year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that fiscal model, we take in considerations like inflation, cost of living, legislative changes, anything we can think of that could have an
there's
impact.
no way of getting around those, but
Yeah, and if we keep on that, and we're focused on strong long-term fiscal management, we'll be all right.
yeah. I mean, I've been here for almost 9 years, and I think the tax levels have been maintained fairly steadily.
Yeah, and there was I think it was a couple of years ago, we actually decreased the mill rate on residential.
Yeah.
Just because using both the tools, the asset management strategy and a long-term fiscal framework, we could tell that we have room to maybe lessen the burden to the ratepayers and not impact 7 generations down the road.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So that's the brainstorm board. Now, additionally, on February 4th, we're hosting an event called Coffee with Your Counselor. Don, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I know every counselor on this council loves one-on-one meetings, the face-to-face. If it happens at the post office or at a hockey game, that's part of our role, and we enjoy that, getting that feedback, whatever feedback it comes. And having coffee with the counselor is another informal way, and it's where everybody can come together. And we have we have support from staff that day. It's here. We try to make it enjoyable. Just another opportunity to meet face to face, not even with your council, but other councillors. We serve everybody. I just don't serve the people in Division 5. I serve the whole region.
Yeah.
And so if somebody has some information they want to rely on to me as Reeve, I'm there to listen and take that back to council.
Yeah, and I was just thinking it's probably a great place to come if you're considering running in the next election.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a perfect place to come.
Yeah.
If anybody comes, I'd love to take them on a tour of facilities and gather some information for them if they need to. Invite them to a council meeting, kind of have that conversation of what are the personal challenges of being an elected official and what are some of the personal rewards of being an elected official. I'd love to have that conversation either at Coffee with the Counselor or give me a phone call a week from now, 2 weeks from now, whenever.
Yeah. All right. The invitation's open. So I just wanted to reiterate Coffee with Your Counselor. It's on February 4th. It's a drop-in style open house. So drop in anytime between 2 and 4 p.m. Residents can meet with their counselors, of course, as Don said, and discuss issues important to them and enjoy coffee, as well as cupcakes provided by From Butter, as well as caramels provided by Salted. So it's a casual setting designed to encourage meaningful conversations. And what are your thoughts from last year? Because that was kind of the first year we kind of did this coffee with your counselor.
Yeah, I thought it went really well last year. I think we had participation up more than other events we've tried in the evening. So it was a good success story, and we wanted to continue with that, to build on last year's success. And hopefully this year we'll gain a little bit more traction, and people start looking forward to Coffee with the Council as an annual event.
Yeah.
And just a good way. And hopefully we get a good feedback and lots of people attend. And gives us a sense of what the priorities of our ratepayers are.
Yeah. And you don't have to come with any huge issue. You can just come and say hi and, grab a coffee, grab a cupcake, grab a caramel, whatever, and just say hi and, see how your counselor's doing. And, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Just come for the cupcakes. They're really good.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's worth it just for that. So, obviously, we certainly have several opportunities for residents to engage. There is one more way people can reach out, and that's through the public input email address, and that is you can email us at publicinput@flagstaff.ab.ca. We want to make sure everyone has a chance to share their thoughts, even if they can't participate in person. So, Don, before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah. I'd like to assure everybody we take this very seriously. Any input we get from the brainstorm board or the email or the surveys or coffee with the council is considered at the council chamber. And it's really important that we value the input, take the time to go over it. And I think last year we did implement some ideas from the public input session in last year's budget. So hopefully we get some good ideas, and we'll do that again, because we're not, as a councillor, you don't know what you don't know, and how do you find out information? By asking the right questions. And hopefully we've had enough modes of receiving information that we can make some strong decisions in the future.
All right. Well, thank you, Don. As always, it's been a pleasure speaking with you on the Flagstaff County podcast. To our listeners, don't forget to check out the survey. Visit the brainstorm board on our website and mark February 4th on your calendar for coffee with your counselor. You can find more information on our website at flagstaff.ca or email us at publicinput@flagstaff.ab.ca. That's publicinput@flagstaff.ab.ca. Until next time, take care and stay connected.